Hey there nation, welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander Cheapskate, and welcome back to another edition of Necro-Mondays, where we showcase weekly Necromunda Battle Reports with our series The Underhive Wars, which is our current series of battle reports dedicated to our Sector 7 Necromunda Dominion campaign. And this is battle report number 54. It is a Forgotten Riches scenario, and it's another continuation of our Meat for the Grinder mini campaign that we're doing for our Dominion campaign. And the reason why that is the case is because we have Slave Ogryns as well as Corpse Grinder Cults joining up with the campaign. So for the this round as well as the previous round, of course, we've been doing a lot of multiplayer scenarios, so that way these gangs can actually level up very quickly, so that way they can participate with us on our very last round, which will be round number 12, which will be later on down the months as it goes on. And like I said before, this is a Forgotten Riches scenario. It is fought between Slave Ogryns as well as Genestealer Cults. My friend Scream of the Emo is bringing the red faction, his Genestealer Cult gang, and he's going against my other friend Smells Like Febreze with her gang, the Chainbreakers, which is a Slave Ogryn gang. So the Slave Ogryns, of course, have been doing pretty well, kind of dominating for the most part, kind of have like a 50-50 chance of actually winning. Very large gang at this point. They've been making a lot of credits with their collapsed dome territory, and so because of the gang has grown very, very large as a result of that. At the same time, though, they are taking the red faction on, which is one of the most powerful gangs that we have in our campaign, so it'll be interesting to see how this works out. And like I said, it is also a Forgotten Riches scenario as well. So we're going to play some background music real quick. As we play the background music, we'll show you pictures of the gangs as well as copies of the rosters. So if you want to see exactly what my friends are bringing for this one, go ahead and pause and take a look at your own leisure. So that being said, let's get this battle report on a roll.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dying times here.
So the scenario rules for this one is Forgotten Riches. For the crews, players roll 2d6 to determine the number of fighters that they have for this one. Both Smells Like Febreze as well as Scream of the Emo decided they wanted both their gangs to be at max capacity for this one, so they skipped that rule and they brought all their available fighters that they were able to bring with them on the scenario. For deployment, players place 6 loot caskets all across and scattered throughout the entirety of the battlefield. Now, they can't be within 6 inches of each other, and they can't be within 3 inches of a battlefield edge. Now, I forgot to take photos of the loot caskets, but if you want to know where they're located at, they're pretty much located on the high points of the battlefield. On the Precinct 13 roof, the Tower of Terror, the Oak Tree Complex over there in the top left-hand corner, on top of the Metro Terminal, and a couple on the walkway there going through the middle of the battlefield. So I do apologize for that part. I forgot to do that. The objective for this scenario, however, is to capture loot caskets and to escape with them by going to within 3 inches of a battlefield edge in order to keep it. Whoever has the most loot caskets ends up being the winners. If they're exactly the same amount, it's then a draw. Special rules is a rule called the Horrors in the Dark. If a fighter is not within 8 inches of another fighter and they're by themselves, roll on a table to see exactly what happens to them. It doesn't really come into effect too much this scenario, so we don't have to worry about that one. For the rewards, you earn D6 time credits for each loot casket that you manage to capture. At the same time, you also earn 1 point of experience for each participant, and also the leader who wins the scenario also earns an additional point of experience as well. If it's a draw, because both gangs have exactly the same number of loot caskets, then there are no leaders gaining the XP because it's a draw. For reputation, you get +2 points of reputation for the gang with the most loot caskets. You also get 1 point of reputation for fighting against each other the very first time, and as always, if any gang bottles out, they lose a point of reputation as well. So with the scenario rules over, let's go and talk about the battle plan real quick. So here's an overhead shot in the entirety of the battlefield. As you can see, my friends are playing on a 4x6 table, and it is full of terrain as well. And like I said before, the loot caskets are pretty much scattered throughout the entirety of the battlefield. We have one on top of the MCI Chemical Works there in the center of the right-hand side. We have a couple on the top of the walkway going to the center. We have one on the roof of the shanty. We have one on the roof of the Tower of Terror. We also have another one on the 3rd level of the Oak Crown Complex on the left-hand side as well. So that's where they're located at. And I do apologize for not taking photos of those loot caskets caskets. I do apologize for that part as well. As for the battle plan, I'm not really sure what the battle plan is for this one. Like I said, my two friends Smell Like Febreze and Scream with the Emo will be playing in this scenario. So as the arbitrator, the only thing I'm doing is taking photos for this one. So as for their battle plans, I'm not really sure what they had in mind specifically. If I had to guess, for general sake, pretty much what they looks like they have going on is a line formation on both sides with small little fire teams. It looks like they're planning on maneuvering to grab the caskets as quickly as possible because, you know, they want to make that money, earn that cheddar, get that cheese. So with the battle plan over with, let's go and talk about deployment real quick. So starting on the left-hand side here for the Genestealer Cults, we got three-man fire team of Neophyte hybrids. I believe those are Johansson, Black Marsh, and Jorgensen. They're pretty much equipped the same way. They have hazard suits, auto guns with frag grenades, as well as fighting knife. Black Marsh has got a hazard suit. He's got an auto gun, auto pistol, and respirator. And yeah, I think the other guy also has an auto gun, hazard suit, as well as a respirator as well. And that pretty much makes the deployment here on the left-hand side. In the left-hand center of his battlefield, we got another three-man fire team here as well. On the left-hand side there, that character's name is Reed. He's a Neophyte hybrid. He's equipped with hazard suit. He's got a respirator as well as a web gun. He's also got an auto gun and auto pistol. Right next to him on the right-hand side, that is Johansson. He's another Neophyte hybrid. He's equipped with a hazard suit. He's got a respirator, grenade launcher with frag and crack grenades. He's got an auto gun, auto pistol, as well as a third arm upgrade as well. And right behind them is Old Doc Whately. He's a road doc. He's got a last pistol, a Medicae kit, as well as the Medicae skill as well. In the center for his deployment area, he's got another three-man fire team up here as well. Up in the front, that is Dagon. He is an Ambot with twin tunneling claws, light carapace armor. He's also got the infiltrate, cranial governors, excavation, automata, as well as valuable special rules. Next on the left-hand side, that is Armitage. Armitage is a Neophyte hybrid with a hazard suit. He's got a respirator, an auto pistol, as well as a mining laser, and he also has a third arm upgrade as well. And then right behind them as well is Benjamin Marsh. He is a hybrid alkalite. Oh, sorry, not Benjamin Marsh. Simon Black is his name. I do apologize. Simon Black is a hybrid alkalite. He's got hazard suit, he's got auto gun, auto pistol, fighting knife, respirator. He's also packing a cult icon. He's got the berserker as well as a third arm upgrade as well. And on screen on the most far right hand side of the deployment, he's got a four-man fire team. In the back, that is Obed Marsh, his Cult Alpha. He's got a hazard suit, a respirator. He's packing 3 combo stub guns. These 3 combo stub guns have stub guns with plasma pistols on top. He's also packing dum-dum bullets for each of his stub guns as well. He's got the commanding presence, gunfighter skill, and he's also got a third arm upgrade as well. And then right in front of him is a little 3-man posse there. On the left-hand side, that's Innsmouth. He's got a hazard suit, chain sword, and auto gun, as well as an auto pistol. In the center, that's Arkham. He's a Neophyte hybrid. He's got a hazard suit, power maul, auto gun, auto pistol. He's also got the specialist role as well. And right next to him on the right hand side, that is Pikmin. That's another Neophyte hybrid. He's got a hazard suit, power pick, auto gun, as well as auto pistol. And that makes up Scream of the Emo's right hand deployment. And finally, deployed in the far upper left-hand corner of the battlefield on the 3rd floor of the Parkway Properties building next to that loot casket, that is Benjamin Marsh. He is a hybrid alkalite. He's equipped with a hazard suit. He's packing auto gun as well as auto pistol. He's got a respirator. He's also carrying a heavy rock saw. He's got the infiltrate skill as well as backstab and third arm special rules as well. And that pretty much makes up his deployment for this one. So with Scream of the Emo's deployment over with, we go directly to across the other side of the table for Smells Like Febreze. So, starting with the Slave Ogryns of the Chainbreakers, on the left-hand side, we have Igor. Igor is a Lobo slave. He's got a furnace plate, two-handed axe. He's got the lobotomize, limited learning, slow-witted, as well as runaway skills. Next on the right-hand side is Burps O' Blood. He's another Slave Ogryn. He's got a furnace plate. He's packing a heavy rock saw, stim slug stash. He's got the loyal, runaway, limited learning, as well as headbutt special rules for him as well. On the left-hand side, it Smells Like Febreze center deployment. She's got 3 more Slave Ogryns. In the back, that is Shan Yu. He's a Slave Ogryn. He's got Furnace Plate and Arc Welder, Augmented Fist. He's also got Blasting Charges. He's got the Loyal, Runaway, Limited Learning Capacity, as well as Headbutt Special Rules. And in front of him are actually 2 different Lobo slaves. On the right-hand side, that is Dig Dug. Dig Dug is a Lobo slave with Furnace Plate, as well as a 2-handed hammer. He's got a Stim Slug stash of frag grenades. He's got the Lobotomize, Limited Learning Capacity, Slow-Witted, as well as Runaway skills. And next on the left-hand side, that is Dark Blaster. Dark Blaster has Furnace Plate, paired Augmented Fists. It's got the Lobotomize, Limited Learning Capacity, I apologize. That's not Dark Blaster. That is Light Blaster. Oh man, these names are getting me mixed up. So I'm sorry, Light Blaster. That's the one on the left-hand side. That's a Lobo slave with Furnace Plate, paired Spudjackers. He's got Lobotomized, Limited Learning, Slow-Witted, as well as Runaway special skills. And that makes up the left-hand side. I do apologize. These names we're starting to get a lot of fighters in this campaign. And make up the right-hand side of the center in the back, that is Taijin Khan. He's an Ogryn overboss. He's the leader of the Chain Breakers. He's got a Furnace Plate. He's packing a Last Cutter, blasting charges. He's got the Runaway and Commanding Presence skill. And right in front of him are 3 more Slave Ogryns. We have Chemo 113, Draco 111, and Stavro 256. These Slave Ogryns are pretty much equipped the same way. They're all packing Furnace Plates as well as Storm Welders. One's packing a Brute Cleaver. The other 2 are packing Axes. They all have the Loyal, Runaway, Limited Learning Capacity, as well as Headbutt skill as well. And those 3 Ogryns carrying Storm Welders, that is absolutely terrifying, because Storm Welders can pack a punch if you use them correctly. And on the far right hand side, we have the last 2 members of the Chain Breakers. On the top there, we have Shan Yu. He's Korgel. He's an Ogryn underboss. He's got a Furnace Plate, paired Augmented Fists. He's packing Frag Grenades. He's got a Stim Slug stash. He's got the Lone Runaway as well as Iron Man skill. And right next on the left hand side, that is Mech Boy, which is represented by that that Spanner Boy from Warhammer 40k for the Orc. He's an Ammo Jack. He's got Mesh Armor, Combat Shotgun with Salvo, and Shredder Ammo. He's also packing a Power Hammer. He's also got the Munition skill as well. And that pretty much makes up the deployment for the Chain Breakers. So with deployment over with, we go directly to the top of turn number 1, and both Scream of the Emo as well as Smells Like Febreze roll off for initiative to see which of them has priority. Alright, so that takes us directly to the top of turn number 1, and the Slave Ogryns managed to get the priority on this one, so Smells Like Febreze and her Chain Breakers take the initiative. The first thing she decides to do is activate Taijin Khan, who then uses Commanding Presence ability. He then activates Chemo 113, Draco 111, and Stavro 256, and those characters just basically just move up as much as they can. They don't do a double movement, they just do a simple 5-inch movement forward, as Taijin Khan also falls up as well. And the reason why is because they then take another basic action to open fire with all 3 Storm Welders across the battlefield directly to Scream of the Emo. And as you can see, a lot of shots went off on this one. If I remember correctly, by the number of shots that went off in total, I think it was around like 23 shots actually went off when you counted up all the rapid fire dice, because you roll 3 rapid fire dice for each one of the characters when they fire a Storm Welder. Unfortunately though, most of them missed. That's just because they have a Ballistic skill of 5 up for the most part. But the ones that did manage to hit put a serious injury directly on Innsmouth, also put a serious injury directly on Arkham as well as a flesh wound, and also put a flesh wound directly onto Pikmin. Obed Marsh, luckily for him though, none of the shots hit him. It just pretty much went to that first wave of Neophyte hybrids that were standing his way. So that part was absolutely terrifying. So from that, we go directly next to Scream of the Emo. Scream of the Emo then activates Obed Marsh, his Cult Alpha, and he uses Commanding Presence ability to also activate Pikmin. Pikmin does a double movement to go directly to the top of the roof of the Precinct 13 building, so that's where he's located as well. Looks like he's going to try to send him across the little boardwalks there in order to snag a loot casket. Meanwhile, Obed Marsh takes a simple action to move forward 5 inches to go directly into that crater, but that puts him directly into distance to fire his combo stub guns, and he unleashes with all 3 of them all at the same time. So what ends up happening is he ends up opening up with with all 3 of his stub guns with dum-dum rounds, as well as all 3 of his plasma pistols. Unfortunate for him, though, most of his shots missed in terms of his stub guns, but the plasma guns did perfectly fine. As you can see there on the right-hand side, managed to put an out cold result onto Chemo 113. So because of that guy goes crashing face down on the ground, automatically goes out of action, netting first blood for the red faction. And if I remember correctly, I think it was a stub gun with a dum-dum round that managed to wound Draco 111. I believe is what they beat him for him. So because they take a wound. Luckily though, they all pass their cool test because Taijin Khan passes his no problem, and just a barrage of bullets just went up that way, and it was actually kind of cool to see that happen. So in response, Smells Like Febreze is a group activation with Korgel as well as Mech Boy. They move with their normal mood allowance. They try to open up with their guns and their weapons, but unfortunately for them though, I believe Korgel was out of range because he only has frag grenades, whereas Mech Boy, I believe he missed his shots because not much really happened from that activation for the most part. Now for the rest of this turn, I'm just going to show you group pictures of what ended up happening with all the members of the gangs, because nobody did any shooting. It was all pretty much just double movements for the most part. So because of that, I'm not going to really spend a lot of time going between the different fighters and just doing kind of like an overall shot. So first of all, Back Marsh does a double movement to go to the second level of the Tower of Terror, making his way to the roof. Cybin, Black, Dagon, as well as Jorgensen, those characters just kind of run up, move as quickly as they possibly can towards the center of the battlefield. What's his name? Johansson, as well as Reed, as well as Old Doc Whitley move up double movements to start occupying that bridge right there, overlooking the shanty towns. That way they can put some overwatching positions on top of that area. And Jorgensen, the other hybrid, also go to the roof of the command center in the far left-hand side of the shanty town, so that way they can start occupying it as well. I'm not sure if you really can see it, but you can see that there, right on that walkway, Burps of Blood also makes his way directly towards the middle of the shanty, making his way to the loot caskets on top of the roofs there. And while that's occurring, Light Blaster does a double movement up to the second floor of the Parkway properties, making his way to the loot casket on the top, where Benjamin Marsh is waiting for him. And here's a close-up of Burps of Blood making his way to the loot casket on the roof of the shanty. You could also see Shan Yu is doing exactly the same thing, cutting through the center of the shanty, making his way towards the center of the battlefield. And here's a close-up of Igor as well as, Igor as well as Dig Dug. Oh, sorry, I'm sorry. Light Blaster as well as Dig Dug making their way to the center. The guy back in the properties building, that was Igor. Man, I'm just messing up the names left and around this battle report. I do apologize for that one. So with the action phase over, we go directly to the end phase, and the only two casualties we have right now are Innsmouth as well as Arkham. Both those guys are still seriously injured though, so they're still laying on the ground, still bleeding out, not much to be able to do much of anything. And that pretty much ends turn number 1 for this one. So here's an overhead shot of the entirety of the battlefield at the end of turn number 1. As you can see, the flanks on the left-hand side, for that one, the Red Faction are slowly making their way up the left-hand side of the battlefield, pushing their assault. At the same time, on the right-hand side, the assault from the Slave Ogryns to pretty much stop the advance of the Red Faction. Red Faction basically only has Obed Marsh being the guy just kind of holding them down for the most part. At the same time, though, he's also facing down 2 ogres with Storm Wielders. He's also got a Slave Ogren Chief, as well as an Underboss, as well as a ammo jack he's got to worry about at the same time. While that's occurring, of course, Smells Like Febreze is sending up her fighters into the center of the shanty to claim some loot caskets there as well. And that pretty much makes up turn number 1 for this one. So with turn number 1 over with, we go directly to the top of turn number 2, and both Smells Like Febreze as well as Scream of the Emo roll off for initiative to see which of them will have priority. Alright, so that takes us directly to the top of turn number 2, and the Genestealer Cults managed to get the priority on this one. So for his very first activation, Scream of the Emo then activates Obed Marsh. He takes a basic action to take aim, so that way he gets +1 to hit with his guns, and he also decides to take the next turn to open fire with all 3 of his combo stubs, opening fire with the stub guns as with their dum-dum bullets, as well as the plasma guns as well, negating the -1 to hit because of combo rules being attached to them. And this is where Smells Like Febreze realizes why everyone is so afraid of Obed Marsh, the alpha of the Red Faction. That guy is a freaking just living machine gun, just opening up with 3 plasma shots from his plasma pistols and stub gun shots with dum-dum rounds. As you can see in this picture, he hits and wounds 2 members of the Slave Ogryns, and also puts wounds on them and puts serious injury on them as well. Manages to hit Korgel, which is the Ogryn underboss, who is actually the closest miniature to him. Managed to wound that guy, put a serious injury on him as well, so he goes crashing face down the ground, and he is currently bleeding out. He does exactly the same thing to Draco 111 as well, putting a serious injury on him as he goes crashing face first into the ground as well. Unfortunately for Smells Like Febreze though, her leader Taijin Gan failed her cool test, so because of that the rest of them have to take cool tests as well. And as you can see, they fail their cool test. Mech Boy takes a 4-inch wound to the left hand side, taking cover because his nerve is currently broken. Stavro 256 moves back 4 inches as well, hiding behind that pillar because he lost his nerve, and Taijin Gan runs back 11 inches, running for his life basically, because he lost his nerve as well, hiding behind that the meat wagon there, right in the middle of the battlefield. So that part was absolutely horrific for my friend Smells Like Febreze. So for next activation, he decides to activate Light Blaster. Light Blaster decides just to do a double movement to go from the top of the shantytown across that boardwalk, heading directly to that loot casket there on the left hand side. Meanwhile, Scream of the Emo decides to do a group activation real quick with Simon Black. Since Simon Black's got a command, he's got the cult icon, he can actually activate 2 fighters. Dagon, as well as he, move up their normal moon allowance. They try to open fire with their weapons directly into Slave Ogryns, but unfortunately for them, they failed. He does exactly the same thing with, Armitage, who takes a turn to aim and open fire with his mining laser, but unfortunately for him, he also misses his shot as well. So because of that, Smells Like Febreze then activates Dig Dug. Dig Dug goes charging across the battlefield directly into Dagon, engaging that guy in close combat. And I'm pretty excited to see exactly how this one turns out, because Dig Dug is a Lobo slave, but he's also packing a 2-handed hammer, and he's also a Slave Ogre. So I'm really excited to see exactly what he does against an Ambot. And it turns out he decides to swing for it and hits him like he can't miss. And as you can see in this photo, he does all kinds of damage directly towards the Ambot. And the reason why is because the 2-handed hammer has got a does 3 damage, and he managed to hit him both times as well. Actually, no, I think he managed to hit him 3 times because he charged in is what ended up happening. So as you can see here, not only does he put a serious injury on, on Dagon as well, and ease up all of his wounds, he also puts 2 flesh wounds on him as well. And because the knockback ability pushes him back 3 inches because because he just kind of swung it like a grand slam and just smashed Dagon all the way back to his baser elements. Well, with the gap that's filled up, of course, Dig Dug decides to follow through and engages with Benjamin Marsh in close combat as well. Meanwhile, on the far left-hand side, Screaming Emo then activates Black Marsh, who does a double movement to the top of the Tower of Terrors. That way he can grab that loot casket that's right next to the radar dish. And Smells Like Febreze decides to activate Shan Yu. Shan Yu moves up his normal 5 inches, that way he's within throwing range of his blasting charges, and he decides to chuck it directly at Old Doc Whately, as well as Jorgensen. And as you can see, he fired for effect. The crazy part was he actually missed when he actually rolled to actually hit them. So we did scatter. It scattered 2 inches to the right-hand side, but it didn't really matter though because a blasting charge has got a 5-inch blast radius, so managed to engulf both Old Doc Whately as well as what's his name, Johansson, catching with a huge shower of flames and shrapnel. And to make matters worse, I'm sorry, that's not Johansson. Oh god, I'm sorry, I'm messing up the names really bad on this one. I do apologize. Reed, that's his name. Reed's a neophyte hybrid. Reed's got the web gun. As you can see, he suffers a feebling injury as well, so because of that, he is now toughness 2. He also goes recovery. At the same time, Old Doc Whately, though, he managed to survive without taking any wounds. He is currently pinned, though, and he does get pushed back an inch because of the knockback rules, but he's perfectly fine. My friend Smells Like Febreze, I think, rolled a 1 for that wound, so because of that, he was perfectly fine on that part. Meanwhile, the 2 neophytes on the top of the roof of the command center decide to move up and open fire with their auto guns directly into, what's his name, Light Blaster, which is the Lobo slave who was on the top of the gantry walkway. They also managed to slip a wound through. Unfortunately for Smells Like Febreze, though, Light Blaster did fail his initiative test. He only got initiative 5 up because he's a Lobo slave. He falls off the walkway, crashes to the ground, doesn't suffer an injury, but he is currently pinned, though, with a wound as well, so that part is kind of rough. So in response, Smells Like Febreze decides to send in Burp So Bloat, who does a double movement to climb to the roof of the command center, getting ready to charge these guys during his next turn, which is absolutely terrifying to face against. At the same time as well, Smells Like Febreze also activates with Igor. Igor finally climbs to the top of the 3rd floor, getting ready to charge directly into Benjamin Marsh. So in response, my friend Screaming Emo then activates Benjamin Marsh, who then charges directly into Igor and actually catches him in close combat as well. And that's actually really terrifying to face against because this guy, Benjamin Marsh, has got 2 attacks. He's packing a heavy rock saw, which means he gets 3 attacks as well. He's also got a 3rd arm, and so because of that, he could also attack with that. So this guy is a beast in close combat. Needless to say, Simon Black just went haywire on this guy, opening up with his heavy rock saw. So Benjamin Marsh just opens up directly onto poor Igor, puts him out of action with a grievous injury as well. I think he wounded him like 3 times over, which is absolutely insane. I forgot how many wounds he put on him. I think it was something like 6 wounds was all said and done. I think a bunch of them came up as flesh wounds, a few came up as serious injuries, and then 1 came up out of action. So that part was absolutely terrible for my friend Smells Like Febreze. Also for Scream with the Emo, but not so great for Smells Like Febreze. So my friend Scream with the Emo then activates Johansson. Johansson moves up his normal wound allowance of 4 inches to the edge of the bridge. That way he's got a good line of sight directly to Shan Yu. And he opens up the grenade launcher, firing a crack grenade at him. Not only does he manage to hit Shan Yu, also causes a wound as well. So because of that, Shan Yu gets pushed back an inch because of the knockback rule and also falls face first into the ground with a serious injury result. So because of that, he is currently on the ground and he is bleeding out as well. And that pretty much makes it the action phase for this one. So the action phase over with, you go directly to the end phase. And unfortunately for Smells Like Febreze, when she rolls for a bottle test, she rolls a 6, which of course means that this gang bottles out, which means now at the beginning of the next turn, each of her fighters will need to take a cool test to see if they actually stay to fight or they flee off the battlefield. So that part was kind of sad. Meanwhile, for the rest of the end phase, of course, Korgl managed to get back on his feet again with a flesh wound. However, for Straka 111, though, he gets a serious grievous injury result. So because of that, he's also out of action as well, and he also goes directly into recovery. At the same time, Shan Yu also gets back on his feet again with a flesh wound, so he can still fight. These guys are pretty much like toughness 5 standard. Shan Yu is toughness 6, so he's actually toughness 5 right now. So these guys have enough toughness to last for days with flesh wounds, so that part's kind of crazy. I forgot to mention too that the guys who broke their nerves, they recover their nerve too for the Slave Ogryns during the end phase. However, Innsmouth was not so lucky though. He finally succumbs to his wound with an out cold result, while Arkham managed to get back on his feet again, carrying 2 flesh wounds on his person. He's only toughness 1 right now. If he gets another flesh wound or just gets sneezed at, he's basically going to go out of action, which is kind of sad. And finally, Dagon is still laying on the ground, listening to the ringing of the bells inside of his head because Dig Dug went absolutely nuts with his axe, going directly into his head, which was actually kind of crazy as well. And that pretty much ends up turn number 2 for this one. So here's an overhead shot at the end of turn number 2. As you can see right now, it's still anybody's game at this point. The only problem though, of course, is that the chain breakers do have to take cool tests starting next turn because they failed their bottle test, so that part's kind of rough. But at this point though, it's still anybody's game. A lot of damage is happening for both gangs of both sides, so I'm really excited to see exactly what happens. So that being said, we go directly to the top of turn number 3, and my friends roll off for initiative to see which of them will be going first. And once again, turn number 3 goes to the Genestealer Cult with Scream of the Emo, and just like last time, he decides to activate Obed Marsh. He takes a basic action so that way he can aim with his 3 guns, so that way he loses the negates the -1 to hit using the combo rules, and decide to open up with all 3 of his stub guns firing dum-dum rounds and all 3 of his plasma pistols as well. And as you can see, he managed to wound Korgul 5 times, put an out of action result on him with an out cold result. So because that, Korgul also flees the battlefield because he is currently out of action at this point. Also getting another bonus experience point for Obed Marsh because not only did he take a fight out of action, but he also took out a champion. So kudos to Obed. So Smells Like Febreze decides to activate Taijin Khan, and when she rolled for his cool check, she rolled Snake Eyes. So because of that, Taijin Khan flees the battlefield because he's basically lost all heart in the fight at this point. And at this point that my friend Smells Like Febreze decides to call the game at this point because her leader is no longer there, and they don't really have really good cool checks for the Slave Ogryns, so she decides just to kind of end it right here. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Here's an overhead shot of the battlefield with the Genestealer Cults of the Red Faction managed to get the win on this one. So we're going to go directly to the post game because this game is now officially over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
Alright, so now it's time for the post-game. This time we're talking about the chain breakers of the Slave Ogryns. So first of all, let's talk about their injuries real quick. So 4 members of this gang got injured. We have Korgul, Chemo 113, Draco 111, and Igor. Chemo 113 as well as Korgul suffered out cold results. They make full recoveries with no problem. Draco 111 and Igor, however, they suffer grievous injuries, so they go directly into recovery. For advancements, Taijin Khan leveled up to level 3 after this scenario, earning +1 to his ballistic skill, and Korgul did exactly the same thing, leveling up to level 2, also getting +1 to his ballistic skill as well. From their territories, from their settlement, they earned 1 point of reputation as well as 50 credits from that. From their collapsed dome, they rolled, I believe it was 3d6, managed to score 120 credits from that one without rolling any doubles, so kudos to them. And from their workshop, they still retained the services of Mech Boy, their ammo jack. In the trading post, they managed to score 170 credits from their territories. They decided to take all 170 credits of those and put them directly into the stash, saving for a rainy day in case they suffer a critical injury on that one. For their reputation, they earn 1 point of reputation from their territories as well as 1 from the scenario, but because they also bottled out, they lose a point. That brings their grand total to 16 in total. The new record now is at 2 wins as well as 2 losses, and their new gang rating now is at 2,203 points. Alright, from there we go directly to the Red Faction of the Genestealer Cults. So, from the injuries, they suffered 2 injuries on this one. Innsmouth suffered an out cold result, so he makes a full recovery, no problem. However, Reed, though, suffered an enfeebled injury, so he goes directly into recovery, also loses 1 point to his toughness, so now he's only toughness 2. For advancements, Obed Marsh, the Celt Alpha for the Genestealer Cults, decided to level up to level 4. He also learned the parry skill now, so even now he's in close combat, he can parry now, and he can shoot, and he can do all kinds of crazy stuff. And Johansson also leveled up to level 2, and also earned +1 to his ballistic skill, so because of that, he's now even deadlier with that grenade launcher of his, so pretty terrifying. From their territories, from their settlement, they earned 1 point of reputation for their settlement, as well as 50 credits. From the Refuse Drift, they managed to scrounge up 30 credits from that. From their Road Dock Shop, they still retain the services of Old Doc Whately. From their Mining Works, they earned 2 points of reputation from that and managed to salvage 70 credits worth of ore from that. And because we're in the growth phase right now for our Meat for the Grinder campaign, they decided to capture a Smelting Works, is what they decided to do with that one. So with their brand new Smelting Works, they earned 40 credits from that as well. During the trading post, they earned 190 credits from their territories, and since they're the only gang left on the table, they automatically captured all 6 loot crates. So with all 6 loot caskets, they managed to score 210 credits from that as well, bringing their grand total of credits they captured to 405 if you count the 5 credits they had in their stash. With their 405 credits, they hired a new hybrid acolyte named Mordecai Black. They armed that guy with a seismic cannon, and they also took 2 stub guns that they had in their stash, and they gave it to him as well. I forgot to mention that Mordecai Black also has a 3rd arm as well, so because of that, he's super deadly. At the same time, they also recruited a brand new Aberrant armed with a power pick, and they named that guy Desher is his name as well. For the reputation, they earn 3 points reputation from their territories, as well as 3 points reputation from their scenario, giving them a grand total of 49 points in total for reputation. Their new record now is at 6 wins, as well as 4 losses, and their new rating now is at 3,140 points. So that's going to do it for this one, you guys. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is invaluable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest greatest hobby news related to this channel. That's going to do it for this one, you guys. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out and stay classy.